Hello students, I am Sheetal Singh from Panchsheel Balak Inter College, Noida. Today we will read the first poem of class 9th English book Beehive, The Rodner taken by Robert Frost. As you can see, the title The Rodner taken by Robert Frost. The poem is relevant to our life. The poet says that he was faced with the option of two paths in wood. This is similar to the career options we have in life and choose one out of them. And now the time for about the poet Robert Frost. Robert Frost was an American poet who was much admired for his depiction of the rural life of New England. His realistic words portraying ordinary people in everyday situations. Robert Frost received 4 Pulitzer Prizes for his poetry. On July 22nd, 1961, Frost was named Poet Laureate of Vermont. Vermont is also the place of America. And now the time for explanation. As you can see, the title, The Rod Not Taken. In this poem, the poet talks about a choice he has to make between two roads. The road is compared to the different career options we face in our life and have to choose any one. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Diverged means, what is the meaning of diverged here? Diverged means to separate and go in a different direction. In a yellow wood, yellow means old and wood, that is forest. Forest means yellow here. That forest is full of yellow leaves as it is autumn season. So the poet informs his readers that there are two roads at the fork in the woods. He adds that the forest is yellow because it is autumn and at this time trees shed their leaves, and by setting the poem in the woods in autumn. And Robert Frost creates a sense of silence and a tone of melancholy. Melancholy means a gloomy state of mind. And sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood. And sorry I could not travel both. The poet shows regret for not being able to travel both the roads at the same time. And be one traveler long I stood. He stands at the crossroad for a long time to try and decide the path he should follow, as you can see in the picture also. And look down one as far as I could. to where it bent in the undergrowth. Bent means turned, undergrowth means bushes and shrubs. And looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. The poet looked down one of the roads as far as his vision could reach. He could see only as far as the path took a bend at the thick undergrowth. At this point, let us think about the metaphorical meaning of the poem. Let us assume the road represents decision we make and the fork represents the choices we have in life. And the undergrowth, uncertain in life. The poet is at the crossroad of his life and not on an actual road. He could be trying to see further ahead into the future but is unable to, so he has to be cautious in his choice. The meaning that many times in life, कई बार लाइफ में हमारे पास ऐसे बहुत से सिचुएशंस आती हैं जब हमारे पास ऑप्शंस में से हमें चूज करना होता है एंड दैट विल बी गुड फॉर अस कि हमारे पास हमारे हमारे लिए कौन सा जो ऑप्शन है वो ज़्यादा सही रहेगा एंड दैट इज अ सिचुएशन ऑफ रॉबर्ट फ्रॉस्ट comparing this with the situations that we face in our life as according to the poet this is similar to the career options we have in life and choose one out of them. Then took the other just as fair and having perhaps the better claim. Fair means nice. Then took the other just as fair. The poet makes his decision since both the paths both the paths seem to be similar. He will take the other. The poet says just as fair, not fairer. So we may assume the roads are similar in appearance. Both the roads are equally good. So the choice may also be equally good. And having perhaps the better claim. Claim means demand, it appears to be better. And having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. In these lines, the poet justifies his choices as the path is grassy and not much walked on by travelers. Therefore, this road needed to be used and worn out too. Though, as for that, the passing there had warned them really good about the same. On the second thought, the speaker feels that maybe both the road seems less walked on. As for that, as for that means refers to the path less walked on. Here, the poet is again expressing the confusion that goes on in his mind to make the final choice. The hesitation in taking a decision as the prospects offered by reading either of the roads seems to be similar. Passing there. Here, the meaning of passing there, travelers taking the path for their journey. And both the morning equally lay, and in leaves no step had trodden black. Once again, the poet says that the road seems equal but with a difference. Equally. What is the meaning of here is equally? Equally means similarly. Trodden means walked, lay, lying in the same manner. The speaker gives us a new information that it is morning and that both the roads seems covered with leaves and that no traveler has walked the way. He comes to this conclusion because the fallen leaves are not crushed by the footsteps and thus not darkened. The morning may also be analyzed as the poet starts from the very beginning and realizes that there is no change with regards to the clarity in the situation. It continued to be the confusing as it was earlier. Oh, I kept the first for another day. The poet seems to be regretting his decision already. The sentence is emphatic as it starts with O and ends with an exclamation. Here you can see exclamation mark. He strongly feels that he would take the other road to know what it had in store since he already knew what was on the road taken. Metaphorically, in life, we rethink about our choices. In life also, अगर हम कोई भी दो हमारे पास ऑप्शंस हैं उनमें से हम चूज करते हैं तो हम उसमें सोचते हैं कि क्या हमने जो इसमें अभी हमने चूज किया है ऑप्शन इज दिस करेक्ट और नॉट we rethink about our choices but it is not easy to revert back the clock as the time and tide wait for none. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. The poet realizes he may never be able to return to take the road not taken. Means, in this poem, the road not taken, we compared the decision of life and the poet chose another road and left the first road for another day. As he chose second road and left the first road for another day. Second road choose किया है और first road छोड़ दिया है for another day. But in life also we choose one options but we rethink about our choices. And the poet realized he may never be able to return to take the road not taken. क्या road not taken, जो रोड नहीं ली गई, फर्स्ट रोड जिसको कि पोएट ने छोड़ दिया है, road not taken. The poet realized he may never be able to return to take the road, for he understands that in the journey of life we may come across many crossroads, make fresh decisions and choices. So in all particularly it may not be feasible to start afresh, especially in the later part of our life. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence. This stanza is entirely written in future tense. I shall. Here, the poet hopes to talk of this decision taken years later with a sigh. The sigh may be sad, happy, or reflective. Whatever it be, it would definitely have made a difference in his life. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I. This line is a repetition of the first line with the exclusion of yellow and an inclusion of and I with a dash. And I shows the speaker is hesitant of the future. The repetition helps to bring the poem to a close. And now the last line, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the differences. Here the poet confidently informs of his decision. He had dared to take the road that many feared to tread. This is an indication that the poet was adventurous and of independent thought. However, the concluding lines give us a feeling that the choice he took has definitely made a significant impact in his life. So, we can understand the title of this poem, The Road Not Taken, is apt, appropriate, and logical. The poet, after traveling a long distance, thinks about the road that he does not take and realizes that he has chosen wrong road. He wishes if he had taken the other road, it would have proved more rewarding. But now he can do nothing as his choice is irrevocable. It is very difficult to say whether the road we have chosen will lead us to the desired end. The major theme of the poem, The Road Not Taken, is about making choices. The roads symbolize different options in our life, and we have to decide on which one is right. And deciding on a right option is very difficult task for us. We often choose an easy way to walk on, but we should also think its consequence in the long run. And when our decision is wrong, we may meet with failure even after working for years, and then we repent why we had chosen this one and not that one. So, while making our choices, we should think about its result. The option that is difficult and challenging often renders good result. And that was the explanation of this poem. Now the time for poetic devices. Poetic devices metaphor. The poem as a whole is a metaphor because the poet is metaphorically comparing the roads in the woods to the choices one must make in life. The poet compares himself to a traveler. The road is a metaphor for the journey of life. And the next is symbolism. Here we find symbolism. The roads symbolize different options in our life, and we have to decide on which one is right. Anaphora, as the lines begin with the same words, I will describe also with the help of poem also. And the rhyme scheme here, A B A A B. And the next is alliteration. It is a stylistic device in which a number of words having the same first consonant sound occur close together in a series. Personification. The non-human objects are portrayed in such a way that we feel they have the ability to act like human beings. Repetition. Repetition is a literary device that repeats the same words or phrases a few times to make an idea clearer and more memorable. And the next is the last one, enjambment, the continuation of a sentence without a pause beyond the end of line stanza. Now you can understand this with the poem also, with the help of poem also. Metaphor. As you can see that the poem as a whole is a metaphor because the poet is metaphorically comparing the two roads, the roads in the wood to the choices one must make in life. The poet compares himself to a traveler. The road is a metaphor for the journey of life. And symbolism, here we find symbolism. The roads symbolize different options in our life, and we have to decide on which one is right. And anaphora, as the lines begin with the same words, as you can see here, and sorry, and be one traveler, and look down, and 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 same words. So we can say that here we find anaphora, poetic device. And the rhyme scheme, and the rhyme scheme here, wood, is rhymed with The third line, stood. Fourth line, the last word, could. And the second line, both, be, rhyming with fifth line, under growth. So the rhyme scheme is would, stood, could, a, 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 both, second line, be, and the fifth line, B. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, A, B. And the next is alliteration. It is a stylistic device in which a number of words having the same first consonant sound occur close together in a series. As you can see, though, as, for, that, the, and passing there. Here you can see the first letter same and closely placed. T, though, as for that, T, T, and passing there, T. So we can say that here we find alliteration. And the next is personification. The non-human objects are portrayed in such a way that we feel they have the ability to act like human being. Because it was grassy, because it was grassy and wanted wear. The grassy path and wanted wear. Wanting is a human need. That's why we can say that here we find personification poetic device. And repetition. Repetition is a literary device that repeats the same words. As you can see, somewhere in line number 17, somewhere ages and ages, ages and ages is an example of repetition. And the next is enjambment. As you can see, that enjambment means the continuation of a sentence without a pause beyond the end of a line or stanza. So this was the explanation of this poem and about the poetic device. So all the students, you have to revise this poem thoroughly. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay indoors, and eat healthy.